Okay, today the cats are all asleep and I am going to compot this community pot of Dendrobium amethystoglossa from H&R Nurseries. And H&R is why I decided I would try Pro Mix. So if you take this compot out, you'll see that it's in Pro Mix, which is that mix of sphagnum peat moss and perlite and other goodies. So you can see, of course, this is so grown together that you almost can't see the Pro Mix anymore. So see how this goes. I probably have to usually when I do this, I have to change the water more than once because this is so tightly bound. The roots of the seedlings in this community pot have grown quite intertwined, and it will be very difficult to separate them. I am soaking the roots in water to make them easier to manipulate without breaking. First, I worked on removing the styrofoam peanuts at the bottom of the compot. Some roots had grown into the peanuts and I needed to pick the styrofoam apart. I tested the compot to see if there were any loose seedlings by giving the plants along the edge a gentle tug. If there was a loose one, then I would remove it first. After this, I began trying to pull the cluster of seedlings apart by twisting and wiggling each side in the opposite direction. At the beginning, the seedlings were so tightly bound that there's no motion when I try twisting and wiggling. After twisting and wiggling, I used my fingers to try to separate the roots. I used my fingers like a comb and stroked them through the roots. Then I dunked the loosened roots in the water to help remove the remaining sphagnum peat moss and perlite from the Pro Mix. Repeating alternating rounds of root combing with my fingers and twisting, I am able to slowly loosen the seedlings from each other. Then I check around to see if any of the loosened seedlings will come away from the clusters. Each time I removed a seedling, the whole process became easier, because the bundle of roots is becoming unknotted and there are fewer intertwined roots. I did have to change my water several times during this process because it became filled with sphagnum peat moss and perlite, which I didn't want covering the leaves and canes of this dendrobium. At some point, Cupid and Jeannie do come by to investigate, and you can see them show up briefly. So here's all the Dendrobium amethystoglossa that's been separated out that community pot. The really small, like tiny single bulbs that were like this, but just one, I have already thrown out. I decided it wasn't worth trying to nurse those along. And this is the one that I'm going to keep. This is mine. And then these two are the next biggest ones. And this is for Mike. If he's watching, I will sell you one of these guys for the special low price of $5 because you're such a great viewer of my channel. So leave me a comment, send me a message, and we'll talk. One of these is yours. And then these are the next sized ones. I'm going to put all of these in individual pots. And then these I'm probably going to make little tiny plugs. So these are all the plants that came out of the community pot from H&R.